if somebody prays and attributes to Jesus their success, what would you tell that person?
That's like my mom, but with Judaism.
Yeah, we can replace it with anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I honestly feel like she's basically using, like, the law of attraction.
Okay, so she's like, maybe she thinks she's using... Wow, that's so meta. She thinks... she thinks that she's using the power of prayer, but she's really using the law of attraction. Well, is there a difference? How can I, if I'm an alien from this planet, from this world, is there a difference between the way you're coming to your understanding versus the way that your mom is coming to her understanding? Record the audio?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
All right. First question. Truth is that which best matches external reality. Agree to disagree. And you can answer creatively however you'd like, but my goal is to place you somewhere on agree to disagree.
I agree.
Okay. Strongly or weakly?
I guess moderately.
Moderately? Is there an exception to that which best matches external reality? Is there something that's true that doesn't best match the external world?
Well, we had kind of talked about, like, your inner truth or whatever.
Yeah, like a personal truth.
Yeah, but then you kind of helped me see that even that was external. So.
Well, it's a question in this instance. Yeah, during the workshop, it's a question. So, like, is it external? Like, in other words, if my favorite color is blue, is that external to you? If it happens to be true, would that be an external truth? Or would that best match what's external reality?
I feel like that would be an external truth for you.
Well, because I'm the one saying it, so it's internal for me.
Right, but if you're saying it,
exactly. But even though it was for me, I guess, let's say, okay, what is your favorite color?
Turquoise.
Okay, and is if that's true, is that a true statement that's matching reality?
I mean, it matches my reality.
Yeah, and the question is your reality different than all of reality? I guess.
I mean, I feel like my reality is different than other people's realities.
Mm-hmm. Well, other people have different understandings. Yeah. Or they have different favorite colors, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so long as they're being honest when they're making claims, is it safe to say that it's true? That what they're saying is true if they're being honest about what their favorite color is?
Yes.
Okay. Is it that which best matches external reality?
I guess I'm still getting kind of confused between the external, like, and the internal, like, if turquoise is true for me and that's in my internal reality, I'm getting kind of confused how it translates to the external. I don't know, maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like, I guess in that case, is there a difference between so it seems like there's two worlds. There's an internal reality and an external reality. But I guess my question is, aren't all of our internal realities a part of the external world? Depending on minds and brains, and without those minds and brains, then they wouldn't have an internal world, and therefore they're contingent on the external world?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you and I can't verify their worlds.
Right.
So we call it something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would say that makes sense. All right. I'll put you down here for agree and come back to that maybe. Number 2, people experience the same reality and only interpret it differently.
I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Number 3, truth depends on the opinions and beliefs of people.
Truth
depends
on the opinions and beliefs of people.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I disagree.
Okay. Strongly or weakly?
Strongly.
Okay. Number 4, people create words and define their meaning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything other than people that create words or define their meaning?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5, something is true if everyone agrees to it.
I disagree.
So everyone can agree to a thing and it can still not be true.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Strong belief, even without action, can change external reality.
Strong belief, even without action, can change external reality. You know, I feel like in the metaphysical world, this is true. True.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Like, it's kind of like the law of attraction kind of a thing. But my main issue with the law of attraction is, I don't know, I think it does have an influence.
What kind of influence?
Read the thing again. It was
strong belief, even without action, can change external reality.
Yeah, I feel like it does, because I feel like when you put a thought out there into the quantum field, like, you are kind of bringing that experience, like, closer to you.
Is there a limit to what you can do with your beliefs?
I mean, I think, and I haven't mastered, like, the law of attraction and all that, so I feel like for me, there's definitely
the law of attraction. Yeah.
There's definitely, like, a limit for me, but I do think that there is, like, you can influence. And
if I saw this one person do this once. They said if you believe hard enough and you put your hands together and you concentrate really hard on one of your hands growing bigger than the other one, that you can do that. Do you think that's possible?
I think if you believe something hard enough, our minds are that powerful that you will start to create it and see it for yourself.
So some people might, like, self-hypnotize?
Yeah.
Okay. But is that what if one can perceive and maybe hypnotize oneself into believing it, that one of their hands is growing, and they can feel that overwhelming belief that it's the case? I guess this is asking, does it change what's real?
It's hard because I feel like there's, like, cases where people who have, like, medical issues that have, like, you know, like, use the power of their thoughts to, like, heal themselves. Maybe not, like, solely on just the thoughts. Like, other factors were in it too. But So it's hard to kind of say if it's just thought, if that would be the case.
I guess, like, in those instances, especially if it's somebody who's got a health issue, how did they rule out the possibility of getting better?
What do you mean?
Well, it's like the law of large numbers. It may be exceedingly rare to have quadruplet identical twins, but the law of numbers and large numbers say that it's bound to happen every so often, given billions of possibilities. And given billions of people, it's bound to happen once in a while. And so I guess the question would be, could someone attribute their getting better to the power of their own mind when really it's just the law of large numbers at work? And just, like, in other words, how did they rule out that they just got better?
Yeah, I feel like there's no way to truly know.
Well, if I were to grow my arm longer than the other one, that would might be sufficient, right?
Right, but I don't think you could do that by just looking at it and believing it. Maybe over time?
I guess the question is, could someone change the external reality in such a way as it could demonstrate something outside something that's rare? In other words, it's rare to get better from a terminal illness, but it happens, right? And it's rare to have identical quadruplets, but it also happens. Can we think of something that doesn't happen, that we can use our minds to change the external world for, that is outside the realm of normal probability or possibility? In other words, is there any way to know for sure?
I don't know if there's any way to know for sure, but my optimistic, magical self wants to believe that that's true, but I don't know if I really do believe it or not.
Where are you on the scale between
I guess I don't know.
You can be neutral if you want. Let me say it one more time, and you can say anywhere you want. And neutral or don't know is fine with me as well. But the statement is, strong belief, even without action, can change external reality.
You know, there's a part of me that feels like yes, or I want to believe that.
Okay.
You know?
So agree slightly?
Sure, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Number 7. Some beliefs should not be questioned.
Disagree.
That's good, because that's all we're doing right now. Number 8. Someone can be certain of something, yet still be mistaken.
Agree.
So someone can be completely certain that something is the case, and they could be wrong about that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It is bad when someone doubts their beliefs.
Disagree.
Okay. If all members of a society share a belief, they are justified to hold that belief. If all members of a society share a belief, they are justified to hold that belief.
I mean, I don't really like the word justified in that, but I mean...
What do you think the word means, justified, in this case?
I mean... I feel like I would disagree with that because it's like people believed Jews were evil and they were justified to believe that or whatever, but that's not really...
And that's a value claim, but even something more rudimentary than that, everyone thought the earth was flat, right?
Yeah.
Right. And almost no one didn't have that understanding. It was almost completely universally understood. And if all members of a society share that belief, are they justified to hold it?
So I'd say disagree.
Yeah. Okay. 11. Believing something that is false feels just like in believing something that is true.
Wait, say that
This
again?
is my second favorite one in the whole survey. Believing something that is false feels just like believing something that is true.
I mean, I would say... Hold on, let me think about this.
Mm-hmm. Believing something that is false feels just like believing something that is true.
I never thought about that before either, but I would say I agree.
Yeah. Because once you discovered you were wrong, you felt like you were right before that. Mm-hmm. And when you discovered you were wrong, you have a new understanding, which now feels like what the old understanding was, in that it feels correct.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And you might have felt bad for a moment that you once held a belief that wasn't true, but that's fleeting and goes away once you have a new understanding, which fills the void, right? Yeah. But in any case, what fills that void is always going into the place of true thoughts in your mind, right?
Yeah.
So in any case, whether it's a false belief or a true belief, all your beliefs feel true to you if you believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
12. Feelings are a reliable way to discover truth.
Disagree.
Okay. 13. Believing something without evidence is admirable.
Disagree.
It is important to know where we came from and what happens after death.
I don't know how important it is, but it's nice to know. I feel like it's more important to know where we came from versus what happens after death.
Yeah, so it's more important to know where we came from, like what preceded us, than what will necessarily happen after us. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Where would you be on the spectrum then?
I mean, I guess a little bit more towards agree.
Mm-hmm. So, like, slightly agree? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. I can see that. Believing something that is false is okay if it gives you comfort. Yeah. Because you mentioned that on a little bit earlier. Yeah. I just was like, yeah, that's coming. Mm-hmm.
You know, I will admit that I consciously do that sometimes. So, yeah.
So it's okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes?
At least for me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay, so that's interesting. For you?
Yeah.
All right. But what if somebody else comes up here and they say, you know, it's okay if I believe in some false things so long as it gives me comfort. But they're picking and choosing their own things.
Right.
However they want to. Yeah, and you don't have control over the things.
I mean, it's a really tricky line because I feel like there's like a level of like, okay, people could just be choosing to be ignorant and not see certain things and believing something else. But then at the end of the day, I feel like mental health is such a like tricky subject or tricky thing that sometimes it's like you have to do what you have to do and like fuck whatever anyone else thinks. So I don't know how to really answer that question, to be honest.
It's okay. We can come back to it if you want.
I don't know.
But I guess, like, let me put it like this. If someone else, would you want someone else to say this? In other words, if somebody else came here and said, believing something that is false is okay if it gives me comfort.
I mean, no, it's not something you want to hear.
Right.
So I would say no. And I think that's also probably one of the main issues I had with at the retreat center in Peru that I did. Because I felt like that's kind of what it was they created this like bubble of happiness.
And comfort.
And like any kind of challenging thought that would present itself, people would just like shut down and just like have these kind of like phrases that could generalize why their belief system is like good or whatever.
You can justify just about anything if you're using feelings as the justification.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you can basically say, it's okay for me to think this because of the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Especially if that internal world can't be verified by anyone else, because what's true to you is just what's true to you. Right? And so you can just say, well, it's true to me, and that's all that matters. So therefore, I justify what is true by the way that it makes me feel, because feelings are a reliable way to discover what's true. Not in your case, because you said disagree there. So yeah,
I would say.
In other words, it's not. So it sounds like to you it's not desirable, but that you might have.
But I still
beliefs.
do it.
Yeah. It sounds like you don't want to be doing it, but you are being honest, and that you may sometimes. I probably do too.
Yeah.
I probably do that I'm like not aware of.
Yeah.
But I'm actively on the forefront of my mind trying to avoid it. So like if I think I'm coming up against an uncomfortable truth, and I'm seemingly choosing to ignore it or not face what might be facts, then I think, because I don't think that I can choose whether or not I'm convinced or not about something, but I might be convinced that I don't want to be convinced about a thing. Like I'm actively ignoring a situation in order to like feel better about something. I probably do that and I'm not even aware of it. But if I were made aware of it, I would want to know, because I'd rather probably know an uncomfortable truth over a comfortable falsehood anytime, just because.
Can you read it again?
Yeah. Believing something that is false is okay if it gives you comfort.
So, like, when you had first said that to me, the first thing that came into my mind was, and I haven't done it in a while, but sometimes when I'd be really depressed, I would basically tell myself that, like, I'd, like, create some story of, like, I'm an angel that came here to Earth for whatever reason. I'd, like, create this, like, story that I know wasn't true, or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't care.
A little bit of self-hypnotism.
Yeah, like So that's kind of what I was thinking of when you had said that, where it was like I kind of created my own delusion that made me feel happy.
Yeah. I think I've experienced that too.
Yeah.
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 Cool. Well, let's see. Where do you want to be on the spectrum for right now?
After that talk? Agree, but
is it okay?
Yeah, like slightly.
Slightly okay. Okay. All right, number 16.
Or wait. Read it again, though.
Yeah, believing something that is false is okay if it gives you comfort.
I would say slightly disagree.
Slightly disagree? Okay. All right. Number 16. I give all claims the benefit of the doubt when I first encounter them.
I feel like benefit of the doubt is not my first reaction, but then I'll kind of get there eventually, where I'll try to, like, I might have a reaction and think it's something, and then I'll try and, like, talk my way to see the other perspective or another possibility or something, and then give it the benefit of the doubt.
Does it depend on what the claim is? Do you give all claims the benefit of the doubt? Or are certain claims given more benefit than other claims?
I don't know. I guess.
Let me throw it out like this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3 claims, and you just say whether or not you believe me or not.
Okay.
On a scale, let's say 1 to 100. I own a Prius.
I believe you.
Right. Yeah, we just drove in it, right? Okay, so that would be high on the scale, like near 100. Okay. I also own a Ferrari.
I don't believe you.
Okay, where are you on the scale, though?
3.
Okay, 3. I own a moon rover that Buzz Aldrin drove once upon a time.
I don't believe you.
Is that less than 3?
0.
Yeah, it's probably less than 3. So what are the difference between these 3 claims?
The likelihood of it happening.
Yeah. Do you give all claims the benefit of the doubt when you first encounter them?
So I guess no.
But not necessarily all the time, right? Because you believe certain claims, it seems. Like if I said I own a cat, well, I don't own a cat, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, right? So you might grant me a little bit more confidence.
Yeah.
So you probably like a neutral then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the claim.
Yeah. Someone is justified in their beliefs until they're proven wrong. And this is probably the one that trips people up the most. Someone is justified in their beliefs until they're proven wrong.
Disagree.
Disagree. And I'm also there with you, but why? Why would you disagree? Someone is justified in their beliefs until they're proven wrong.
Because they don't need to be proven wrong, or I don't even know if they could be proven wrong.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Like, what if they can't be proven wrong?
Right.
Are they justified until they are?
Right. No, I don't agree with it.
Right. So if somebody's believing in something and no one can prove them that they're wrong about it, they might be believing it because no one can prove them wrong about it. Mm-hmm. But if no one can prove them wrong, is it possible that they are wrong, but they'll never find out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they'll never find out because there's nothing that could show them they're wrong. But that's yet the reason they believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you and I are in agreement completely on that one.
Is that the only one?
No, that's the one that no one ever gets that quickly. And you even said the magic words that I never hear people say, which is basically like, I can't remember what the words
that
you used exactly.
Can't be proven wrong.
Yeah, or they might not be right.
Yeah.
And if there's no way to show them they're wrong, well, then they're not justified until they are proven wrong. Because if you did that, then that would mean every belief or claim is right by default.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And then we find out that it's not right when we falsify it. But some people think that way. Some people say everything is true until we find out that there's something not true about it. In other words, everything starts off as true, and then we eliminate things by finding out it's not over time.
Sounds ridiculous. If anything, I think everything's not true until we find out it's true.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's how I see it anyway. Yeah, because you could say anything.
Right.
Yeah. You could just say jelly beans are what the stars are made of. And until you prove me wrong, I'm justified in believing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say, there's nothing you can't say based on that. Because there's a lot you can't ever show not to be the case. If it's not true, then you can't show it not to be true. If it doesn't exist, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. Number 18. The most important criteria for my beliefs is that they match reality.
The most important criteria for my beliefs is that they match reality. Mm-hmm. It goes a little bit back to like my delusional thinking, because sometimes I will imagine the trees talking to me or like giving me love or something. I don't feel like that necessarily is being reflected in reality. You know what I mean? But I choose to believe that because it makes me happy. Mm-hmm.
But you're not convinced. But you're not convinced it's real, though, right? It's more like that sounds to me like that's like a story that you tell yourself in order to be cheery or happy or bring joy to yourself. But if somebody were to say, "Are the trees actually laughing?" because it's important for us to know, would you just say, "Yeah"? Or do you say, "Oh, well, I mean, I tell myself that, but they're not actually laughing"?
Well, so like not using the word laughing, but like using the word love. Like, are the trees actually giving you love? That's kind of like
See, that's a muddied thing because love is an abstract noun.
Right.
And that would open up a whole conversation about what love means.
Right.
Which is a fun conversation to have too. But it's like, what do you mean by love, and how could a tree be doing that?
Right.
Yeah. And then how do you know that's the case? But then, how do you know anyone loves you? You don't, because you don't know one's true mind. Uh-huh. Yeah. But I guess like...
Okay, read it again.
Yeah, in this instance, let me put it like this. X exists or doesn't exist Do you want the criteria for your mind to best match whether or not X is real? In other words, if it's not real, would you want to know it, or would you want to let go of the belief that it is real?
Yeah.
And so you would want, and this is saying the most important criteria for my beliefs is that they match reality. And it sounds like there might be some comfort or emotional things that you might want to keep that might not match.
Right.
Which would be a more important criteria at some point.
Yeah. But I would say I agree with that for the most part.
For the most part, agree. Gotcha. Okay, the last 6 are real easy. Those are the hardest ones.
Okay.
The last 6 are really easy. I often investigate beliefs that do not match my own.
I would say sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
But you try to.
I do.
If it might matter.
Like like sometimes if I find something like challenging or triggering, I kind of try to like see where it's coming from.
Yeah. So slightly agree?
Yeah.
Okay. I am comfortable with saying I don't know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It is beneficial to find out when I am wrong about something.
Agree.
I will abandon a belief if I discover reliable information that falsifies it.
Agree.
I look for more information before I accept something as true.
Agree.
It is possible that some of my beliefs are not true.
Yes.
And that's the survey. How do you feel?
I feel good. It definitely made me think about a lot of things that I haven't really thought about before, and then also kind of see where I have my like roadblocks with like my own beliefs.
Very few of them, though. Very few of them. A lot more people have a lot more roadblocks.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of roadblocks when it comes to like creating my reality and the beliefs I choose to believe, and then also like law of attraction. I feel like there's like some roadblocks there. Yeah,
we could, if we wanted, like part of what I do with is I give people the choice of either doing the survey or going out on a limb and making a claim like I believe in the law of attraction, and then we would just drill whether or not someone could know that is real. Like, how could we know? Is there a way to find out? And if there's not a way to find out, is it possible that it's not true and we have no way of finding out, and therefore we're continuing to believe it because we have no way to show it's not the case? Yeah.
Like your other question.
Number 17. Someone is justified in their beliefs until they're proven wrong.
Yeah.
Is there a way to prove the law of attraction wrong?
Well, it's tricky with law of attraction because I feel like there's been things where I have like put out there and it's come back.
Sure.
And it's so like crazy coincidental that I'm like, all right, that had to be like some kind of weird energetic thing. But obviously it and the thing with the law of attraction is I feel like time like kind of has like a different like it doesn't really come back sometimes in the time you say. So like I don't know. And with like law of attraction, like I could say like I want to have a mansion or whatever, or like you create this thing that
or
you
walk
want.
Again.
Or
walk again.
Yeah. So I don't feel like there's like a way to really actually scientifically measure it to see if it really is true or not. But I feel like from personal experience of trying it, it feels like it's true.
No.
Like it works, but not all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like it works for the things you really want and desire and care about. Like the whole thing, like why I didn't like The Secret, the movie.
The documentary.
Was because it kind of was like all superficial and just made it seem like you just like throw this thought out and you'll get it and this and that. And it's like, okay, that's great and all, but like I do feel like you do have to put action towards it. Like you can't just meditate on like, you know, having a mansion when you're working your like minimum wage job and like not actually doing taking any steps forward to creating this like life that you want. I don't feel like it really works like that. I mean, there's the possibility of some customer walking in that's a millionaire that gifts you whatever you want, but like the probability of that happening is like very low. But I don't know. I think it kind of depends. I haven't really figured out with law of attraction and all that, like how it really works and everything. And I do recognize that I feel like I have like a lot of roadblocks when it comes to that.
Yeah, I guess like the thing that I would just leave you with is think about what it would take to change your mind about it. In other words, what would it take if you were, I'll put it like this, if confidence were a scale, because I think that beliefs are either held or they're not held. And the default position is to not hold a belief until you first hear it, and then you assess whether or not you should hold it or not hold it. So like one example is I can have like a container of some quantity of something. Let's say I have a pack of gum in my hand, and I can say the number of gum in my pack is even, right? And that's a claim, right? And it's either true or it's not true. And it's either even or it's odd, right? So you can come up and say, well, how do you know they're even? Have you counted them? And I can be like, well, no, but it's just what I believe. And you can decide to either believe me or not. And if you decide not to believe me, I think that it doesn't mean that you think they're odd. In other words, you don't think the opposite of me just because you don't believe me. You just don't think I have a reason to hold it.
Right.
Right. So the default isn't to think that it's not true, just that you don't have good reason to believe that it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused. So they think like, if I think the law of attraction might not be the case, that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that it isn't the case.
Right.
It's just that I don't understand how we could know that it is.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess if that's the default, then on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is all I have is questions and I don't hold the belief at all, and 100 is I'm holding this belief and I don't know what would change my mind about it, where are you on the scale about the law of attraction?
Probably like a 60.
A 60? And what would make you more confident to go up from a 60 to maybe even a 70 or a 90 or even higher?
More confident that it does exist?
That it is true. Yeah. What would you need to see?
I guess like using it more and it working more.
Right.
I don't know.
And what would make your confidence go down?
I guess maybe like another kind of like explanation for what it is that I am experiencing. I don't know.
Like, just another explanation?
Yeah, like, I mean, if somebody says that, like, kind of has some argument about why it doesn't work and it makes sense to me, if it makes more sense to me than the belief that I've been holding on to, then I would jump ship.
If it's not true, though, could anyone ever make an argument about why it isn't true?
If it's... that's a good question. Well, that's kind of where I was saying, like, if there's at least, like, something that can explain what it is that I'm experiencing. So, like, what if, kind of like, let's say, you know, you buy a Volkswagen Bug, and then all you start seeing is Volkswagen Bugs. Like, that might not necessarily be the law of attraction, but that's just what you're choosing to focus on.
Yeah. Or it's on your mind, so it's more easy to pick out.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like that and law of attraction kind of like get muddled, and sometimes I'm not sure what the difference is.
Like, how do we tell the difference between what is being drawn into our law of attraction versus just having exercised a mental model? So now we see that mental model in our everyday life everywhere because it was there the whole time. We just never noticed it from day to day until it was brought to our attention.
Right.
Like, I didn't notice how many Priuses were on the road until I bought one. Right. And then I saw them everywhere. In the same way, it's funny because it's another car example, right? Yeah. But also, like, for me, I didn't even remember when I said, like, I have that pet peeve about your truth and my truth and people who say my truth. I didn't even notice how frequently it was used until I started noticing that it bothered me, and then I saw it everywhere. But also things like, but I could see what you mean. But I guess you said the thing that is hard to see to move you down from 60 to some lower number was maybe some argument. So what it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what would move you up on the scale would be more evidence that it was working and more practicing it. Mm-hmm. But that wouldn't, an interest. Okay, I would say that same standard wouldn't move you down, but the problem is so in other words, like, you could try it a bunch, and if it doesn't work, then that wouldn't slide you down, right? But here's the thing. Would you even notice when it didn't work? Because the way confirmation bias works is that you only notice when it does work and you ignore the times when it doesn't. Exactly. And because you're the only person who's the umpire of what is going on, no one else can check your work, which is what science is all about. Like, let me check your work to make sure you're not biasing this test and other people examining. So if you're the only one that could ever know, and it sounds like you're relying on confirmation, what might be confirmation bias, to move you up on the scale. Is there something else that would move you up on the scale other than what might be confirmation bias? Like, is there any way to... Because if there... you can
move me up on the scale as far as believing it?
Like, what is there something that can move us on the scale that we could eliminate the possibility of confirmation bias?
I mean, honestly, I feel like I still kind of believe in it because I see other people doing it. And even though it hasn't necessarily worked for me because it works for other people, then I feel like I believe it a little bit more.
If somebody prays and attributes to Jesus their success, what would you tell that person?
That's like my mom, but with Judaism.
Yeah, we can replace it with anything.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly feel like she's basically using, like, the law of attraction.
Okay, so she's like, maybe she thinks she's using, wow, that's so meta. She thinks that she's using the power of prayer, but she's really using the law of attraction. Well, is there a difference? How can I, if I'm an alien from this planet, from this world, is there a difference between the way you're coming to your understanding versus the way that your mom is coming to her understanding about how power of prayer works versus how...
the mechanism is the same. It's like putting this, like...
Could you both be wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. How would we know if one of you are right or one of you are wrong, or if both of you are wrong? Is there any way to know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's why, like, religion is so, like, it, and that's why it's so challenging to, like, talk to my mom, or, like, you know, she has her beliefs.
Right.
And it's just like people...
Here's the thing, though, but your mom doesn't know what it would take to move her on the scale. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I guess to move me up on the scale would just be like doing it more and it being more successful at it would move me up on the scale. But as far as moving me down on the scale, I don't know, because
right,
and that's more important, I think.
So
almost.
yeah, and the whole point of this is to try to, and I'll just come out and say it, is to try to make you feel uncomfortable with not knowing what it would take to move you down. In other words,
it's almost like a scary thought, because it's like,
because you might be stuck believing it, and
then
and there's nothing that can move you down. Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, isn't that neat? It's a neat little exercise, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
So yeah, this is for you to keep. I'll probably take a picture of it, but yeah, that's for you to keep and
that's awesome.
Think about it. And the only places that I found myself different than you on were these two with the arrows. Otherwise, maybe this one. I'm there, but other than that, we're pretty much in alignment. Oh, and I'm here. I'm at number one. I can't think of an exception to number one. I think number one is a strong agree for me. Mm-hmm. And then the only other one that I disagree, found a little bit of a difference on
that was
this
the one
one.
I struggled with the most because of the...
Yeah, I can think of reasons to be both agree and disagree, but not for the reasons that you gave. Yeah.
What were your reasons?
I would let's see. The statement is strong belief even without action can change external reality. And I would say that's absolutely false if what we're saying is thoughts and prayers alone are effective. Because I think that kind of thinking is what actually causes people to do things that are ineffective. Meaning people will think, well, if I just think real hard for these people, that things will be better for them. Mm-hmm. When in reality, what they need is like blood and supplies because a hurricane just hit. Mm-hmm. And just thinking about stuff actually halts progress to helping them rather than helping them directly. Mm-hmm. And that the only thing that actually would help them would be to do something about it. And sometimes actions are absolutely all that matters. Mm-hmm. And you can have an idea, but if you don't act on that idea, right, it doesn't matter to anyone but you. And because you are the witness of your own thoughts, you will tell yourself that you did stuff, even though you didn't do a damn thing. Yeah. So I think that can be dangerous, but I also agree completely with it that strong belief, even without action, can change external reality, because for a very different way, depending on how you're looking at the statement, I think it does make sense because there is no action anyone could ever take which isn't predicated on a belief prior. Yeah. All actions require a belief of some kind. So,
there's, do you know Dr. Joe Dispenza?
No.
So I think I have one of his books. And I think that's where I was getting kind of tripped up because where is his book?
What does he say in his book?
Well, where the fuck is it? I don't even know where it is. He's basically... How do I describe him? He basically talks about, like, using your mind to, like, change, like, actually physically change your DNA.
Yeah, so he's saying what is the case. And the point of this workshop is how. How do we know that is what is true?
What do you mean?
So he can say that is the case. He can say what he believes, but we want to know how he knows it. How does he know that's true?
I think he's done some kind of research with it. And, like, I feel like I'm not doing a good job. There was a talk he did. It was on, like, Gaia.com or something. And you had to, like, sign up for, like, some membership. But it was actually, I thought, an amazing talk. But now I'm kind of confused on... What? I almost want you to watch it so you can
so I can ruin everything for you? Yeah. I don't want to ruin everything for you, but yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, I know, what's this guy's name? Sanjay Gupta or something? I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, there's a couple of people who have written books that are kind of similar to The Secret and things like that, and like the power of thought. Yeah. Here's where I will agree with what you're saying completely, and here's where I will completely agree with what it is that you were saying. We are social creatures, and most of everything that we do in life is between social creatures. And most of the things that we care about are between social animals, whether they be pets or other humans, right? We're interacting and loving and caring for and taking care of one another. And when we put out the kind of positivity that we're wishing to attract and the kind of goals that we want for ourselves, especially when it comes to our relationships, right? The kind of lovers that we want in our life, the kind of family we want to have. Well, putting out what we desire is the best way to attract it because it's landing on the ears of other social creatures, and all language is a part of our social construct. And so, of course, yeah, you're using major influence just by thinking aloud to talk to other people, but also just like in the way that you behave and act every day. If you want a white picket fence and a really nice job, well, you're going to wear a tie and a suit to work every day, and you're going to try to attract that kind of life for yourself, and you will succeed in doing it because you're putting yourself out there in that way. But we tell ourselves sometimes that it's because of our internal model of what's happening in our brain, rather than the behaviors we're exhibiting because of the internal model that we've got. And what I'm thinking is, it's our internal model is reflecting in a very real way in the external world, right? And that can be measured between social creatures. But anything metaphysical, I don't know how we could know it, which isn't to say that I think they're wrong. I just don't hold it.
Right.
Because I think the default position is to be like curious and go, how do we know that's the case? How could we know that's not true? Right. Because I think before we prove something right, we have to know how to prove it wrong. Because you can't prove something is correct. I don't think that you can prove something. I think I can say it this distinctly. I don't think you can prove something is correct if there's no way at all to show that it might be wrong.
Right. And that's what I kind of feel like the law of attraction is. Like, there's no way to prove it's wrong.
Isn't that number 17? Someone is justified in their beliefs until they're proven wrong. If you can't prove it wrong, are you justified in believing it until someone does prove you wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
My brain hurts.
Yep, that's the end. That was good, though. Hey.
That was good. Cool.
Yeah, put that somewhere safe.
I will.
Cool, I'm going to pause it now.